Hey guys, Chris here at CaribbeanPod.com. Hope you guys are enjoying the recipes I've been sharing with you guys and having overall fun with it. Today we're going to make the national dish of Jamaica. I first had this, sorry to say, only a couple weeks ago down in Jamaica. We were there on vacation and my friend's mom made up a batch of this for us for breakfast. Ackee and Saltfish. There we go. The first thing we're going to do is prepare the saltfish for it. And saltfish I'm using here is a boneless, skinless codfish, but you guys feel free to use whatever type of salted dry fish that you guys can find. But pretty much we're going to boil it for 20 minutes, drain it, rinse it off on the cold water, and then shred it. The other ingredients we're going to need are some tomatoes, garlic, scallion, scotch bonnet peppers, onion, and bell peppers. The full recipe for this can be found at CaribbeanPod.com. You can always check there for all these recipes. Now in a fairly wide pan, we're going to put, and I love using olive oil for this. Traditionally, I've seen they use margarine as well as butter, but for some reason the olive oil seems to enhance this dish for me. I'm going to use anywhere from 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil, and I have here a cold press extra virgin olive oil that I'm using. If you guys like, you can, like I said, use margarine, butter, or even vegetable oil. You bring it up to heat it up, medium heat or so, and once it's before it gets to the smoking point, what we're going to do is add the sliced onions, the garlic, as well as the hot pepper, which is in my case I use habanero pepper. You can use scotch bonnet pepper. If you're not into the heat thing, feel free to leave the pepper out. It's totally up to you guys. So by now my oil is getting there. The flashes you're seeing in the video here is me taking pictures for the actual recipe, which I post on the website. And I'm putting in the sliced onions. I slice them really thin. And what we're doing here, we're pretty much going to heat them through. We don't want to brown them. We just want to pretty much sweat them and get them nice and soft. And that's about it. We're going to cook this now. It probably takes anywhere from 2 to 3 minutes, I'm guessing. You will see the cooking time on the video here is going to be a bit faster, but give it some time, 2 to 3 minutes, depending on how high you have the heat. Remember, not too high because we don't want to burn this. We just want to soften everything up. While that is cooking, I was shredding the saltfish for adding late in a few minutes. And there I am. I'm just tossing everything around, making sure everything gets coated with that lovely olive oil. And the next step, I add the bell peppers. I'm using green bell peppers here. If you want to brighten it up, you can use orange bell peppers, red bell peppers. It's just entirely up to you. Now, I like my peppers chunky because I love tasting that little crunch of the pepper, and I did it in strips. But you guys can go ahead, and cube it if you want. Dice it up into small cubes. Again, it's totally up to you. You can use a variety of peppers, not just the green like I used here. You can use, like I said, a mixture of red, orange, green, whatever color to brighten up the entire dish. We let that cook for another 2 or 3 minutes or so, just until the pepper starts cooking through. We just don't want to cook it all the way through yet. The next step we're going to add here, in seconds now, you're going to see me adding, give it one more stir, I guess, before I add the peppers. I think the green peppers are almost all the way cooked exactly to the consistency that I like here. So it's just a matter of seconds now before we start adding the other ingredients. Remember again, guys, this is the national dish of Jamaica, and slowly it's making its way up and down the Caribbean as well. We were lucky to have a homemade meal. We were in Portmore, just outside Kingston, a few weeks back. And I tell you, I'm hooked on this ackee and saltfish now. So there I have the shredded pieces of salted fish, and I'm adding to it now. Remember, we already prepared it, we boiled it, we rinsed it off, and drained it, and shredded it. We just added it to the entire mixture here. And what we're gonna do now is we're gonna stir everything, and then we're gonna allow that to cook for a few minutes. We wanna make sure those wonderful flavors from the salted fish is extracted into the entire mixture here, and flavor everything. You won't believe the flavor we're gonna get out of this saltfish. It marries well with the garlic, the onions. Now I didn't put any thyme. You won't see me put thyme in the recipe here simply because I didn't have any at this point. However, I'm cracking some fresh black pepper in it here. But again, guys, I highly recommend you get some fresh thyme, maybe 2 to 3 sprigs of thyme, and you add it to the pot at this point as well too. The flavor you get out of that thyme. Basically what we're doing here is building different layers of flavor. We had the garlic, we had the onion, we had the bell peppers, we added the salted fish, and the thyme will just, I'm telling you, man, it's gonna be amazing. Now I add the scallions as well as the tomato, and I add it a bit late in the cooking process simply because I don't want my tomato going mushy. Tomato have the tendency to break apart and melt away, but I like getting that sort of texture from the cubed tomato that I added here. And again, it was just one medium tomato that I cubed up. The scallions, I think it was two scallions that I chopped up and I added here as well too. I'm going to give this another great stir everything, make sure everything's incorporated nicely. And at this point, your entire kitchen is going to have that lovely sort of Caribbean smell that I tell you, everyone's just going to be, is it done yet? Is it done yet? It's going to be smelling so good. And lastly, I used Ackee in the can, simply because that's what's available here. And you've got to be very careful when handling Ackee in the can, because it can break apart fairly fast. So what I did was, I drained it in a drainer, and I run some cool water over it just to take some of that liquid out that was packaged in. I hate that liquid. And then we're going to be very gentle. Remember, try not to move it around, try not to overwork it, because it will break apart and then everything's going to be like big old mush in the pot. So that is what we're hoping to avoid. And that's just the reality of using Ackee from a can. I've asked around, and it's the same thing. My friends tell me it's the same. They run into the same thing, mushy Ackee, because again it's pre-packaged in brine and sort of a salt water. And there's a strainer I used. I'm adding the Ackee to it now. And what I'm going to do, rather than use that spoon you saw me cooking with earlier there, I'm going to take 2 forks and gently, and I mean gently, toss this around. So all you're going to do is give it a good lift, flip it over, and we're just trying to get some of that lovely flavors that we created to work its way, to get absorbed into the Ackee. And guys, to be honest, this is it. That's it. That's the recipe right there. A lovely dish. I'm sure every Jamaican out there is very proud of this dish, and I can see, I tell you, this is a lovely dish. I hope you guys give it a try. It's very simple to make. The ingredients I'm sure you can find in your fridge, except maybe for the canned Ackee. But go to your local grocery store. A lot of grocery stores carry them now. The West Indian stores carry them. So there's tons of choices. I use the Grace brand product here, but feel free to use any sort.